we've heard about Botox, injections which help relax facial muscles, supposedly making you look younger. It's only supposed to be given by someone who is medically trained, and anyone having the treatment is supposed to be warned about possible side effects. But it doesn't always happen. A BBC Three documentary has uncovered a murky world of backstreet beauticians who inject without following the rules. Let's have a quick look at the programme.
If you want Botox, you should ideally go to a trained medical professional. They will assess whether it's suitable for you, tell you the risks, and can write you a prescription before giving you the treatment. You can go to a beautician for the injection, but it's illegal for a beautician to supply Botox that hasn't been prescribed for you. So you also need to see a doctor, dentist, or prescribing nurse for your consultation and prescription first. This must be done face-to-face. If you're prescribed Botox without a face-to-face medical consultation, it's against strict General Medical Council guidance. Despite this, I've heard it's happening at thousands of appointments across the UK. I'm told beauticians regularly offer Botox which hasn't been properly prescribed, but I need proof. So I've booked some appointments using the fake name Lucy. I'm going to go undercover because I think if I go in and say I'm a journalist, they might follow procedure. Whereas if I go in as a member of the public with hidden cameras, I'll see exactly what happens when people do go to these appointments normally.
For Botox. Botox, yeah.
I want to check whether they're qualified medics. Are you a nurse?
I was, yeah.
And you're a nurse?
Yes.
Yeah. I checked and she isn't a licensed nurse, so I should first see a qualified medic to get the required prescription. Are there any side effects?
No. No side effects. Everyone does. The whole world does it.
Are there any side effects?
No.
If there's something wrong, people would know about it, okay? If something wrong.
Needles come out quickly, so I fake a sudden needle phobia. Sorry, so when it's actually happening, I feel
There's
a bit...
nothing wrong, trust me.
I don't know,
You can look on our Facebook or Instagram. We have like 20,000 followers, you know, and everyone's happy.
Both those beauticians were about to give me Botox without a proper consultation with a prescriber. And one of them told me that she's a registered nurse. I looked her up on the register and she's not on it. Posing as a registered medical professional is a criminal offence, and our evidence shows that's exactly what she was doing. And they told me there were no risks, no side effects, and they made it seem like a very casual thing that everyone's doing. To see if it really is what everyone's doing, I'm on my way to a Botox party in Windsor, where a legitimate prescriber is present. Hi!
Dr. Sherpal.
Hi, Dr. Sherpal. So how are you feeling?
Yeah, great. Yeah.
The champagne may be non-alcoholic, but there's still a party atmosphere. How old are you guys?
I'm 23.
23.
27.
27.
21.
21.
Yeah.
But you're not having any Botox,
I'm not,
are you?
no.
Are you tempted?
A little bit. See what all the fuss is about.
When was the first time you had it? Was that 4
When
months
I was
ago?
when I was like 18.
No way.
Yeah, I've had it for like 5 years now.
And do you think that people see it as convenient as they would getting their nails or their eyelashes done?
Yeah, so people want their nails done, their hair done, their eyelashes done, their lips done, Botox, all part of that whole, you know, confidence boost.
So in total, how many people do you think you know who have Botox?
Over 100.
Over 100?
Yeah, everybody has it.
I feel like I'm the only one who doesn't anymore.
Ellie Flynn, who's the reporter on that investigation, is here with us, along with Ashton Collins from Save Face, a government-approved register of legitimate practitioners who carry out treatments like Botox. Thank you both for coming in. Ellie, did you find what you expected to find when you started out on this investigation?
I didn't really know what I expected when I started. I'd obviously had tips that this was happening on a huge scale, but I was definitely surprised by how common it seems to be that Botox is being provided without the rules being followed.
And so, have you got a sense of how widespread it is that people who are not medically qualified, you haven't been for a consultation, is carrying out Botox procedures?
Yeah, it seems to be quite common from our investigation. I mean, most of the beauticians that we went to go meet, I didn't have a consultation with a doctor before. They didn't ask for any of my details before I went to the appointment. It was just on the day I popped in, would have been given Botox in a 10-minute appointment.
Ashton, you don't have to be medically trained, do you, to administer it, but you need to have had a consultation with a medical professional beforehand?
That's right, yeah. So legally, a patient needs to have a valid prescription to be administered with Botox, and that needs to be following a face-to-face consultation with a licensed prescriber. So that's either a doctor, a dentist, a nurse prescriber, or a prescribing pharmacist.
What struck me from watching your film there and just a short part of the documentary is how young people are going for Botox. I mean, that young woman, she was, 23? She said she first had it when she was 18. What doctor is saying, yes, I'll give you a prescription for Botox?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you get all sorts of unethical people. Perhaps she wasn't going to a doctor at that point in time. Perhaps it was a beauty therapist. But, you saw from the, atmosphere of that party why these treatments are so trivialised. There's almost no perception that there are any side effects, complications, serious side effects. And, the word party and an injection really shouldn't go hand in hand.
Side effects. Talk about side effects for us.
So they can range from anything like bruising, swelling, itchiness, headaches, right through to more serious things like ptosis, where the incorrect muscle is relaxed. So that would leave you looking like you've had a stroke, because it would leave you with a droopy eyelid. Right through from allergic reactions, which, you'd need to be a medical professional to identify those quickly and treat them effectively.
So at those Botox parties, were those young women aware of these kind of side effects?
So there was a legitimate prescriber at that party that I went to. There was a doctor there, so those women were given a warning of the side effects. But in a lot of the cases when I was going to appointments myself, I was not really given any idea that there were side effects. And I meet with someone in the documentary who also did have a bad reaction to Botox after being given a treatment without being warned of any side effects at all.
Is there a sense that this industry does need to be tightened up? Is there government interest in tightening up this industry?
In short, no. They've, the Keogh Review came out in 2012, which exposed just how unregulated and unprotected patients are. They've declined to regulate for various reasons, and they basically signpost government-approved registers like ours to find safe practitioners, and which is why we educate the public around making safe choices, what the risks are, and you really should be taking these procedures very seriously.
When you spoke to these women, did you get a sense that this was insecurity that was driving this? It was that they weren't looking at how serious this issue was? I mean, as Ashton says, party and injection shouldn't really go together.
Yeah, I think it's almost become kind of a trend, that look to have Botox, and it brings your eyebrows up and it gives you a perfect forehead. And I think that there is pressure probably from social media on young women to look a certain way. And I think it just, like the girl says in that clip, it gives you that whole package. And I think that a lot of young women are striving to have that.
I know you go mystery shopping, don't you, to try and catch out bogus practitioners?
Yeah, absolutely, and there are hundreds of them. I mean, that's just a drop in the ocean, what we've seen on that clip. There are hundreds of training academies that specialise in training beauticians, and they all then go on to offer, £99 treatments, cut price treatments, Botox parties. They advertise on social media. They're often under sort of Kim's aesthetics. You've got no idea who Kim is. You've got a mobile phone number, which is probably a burner phone. Something goes wrong, you can't contact Kim, and she pops up as Kay's Aesthetics the next week.
So what is the amount of money you should be paying for Botox? You're saying £99 is cut price?
Yeah, that's very cheap for a legitimate Botox treatment. You're looking at anywhere between £180 and £350, depending on the number of areas that you have. So an area would be classified as between your eyebrows, your forehead, or your crow's feet areas. So if you're going for the whole three, you're looking at about £350.
So with your investigation, Ellie, what did you come out with it? What was your lasting impression of what needs to be done to the industry? Because as you said, you went in without any views on this.
Yeah, I think that it has to be tighter regulated. I mean, in the end, we find a struck-off doctor who is providing Botox to between 80 and 90 beauticians across the UK. And I think that because
he is struck off, he sort of falls into this legal grey area where the GMC aren't regulating him anymore. So who's there to protect those patients? That's what I think needs to be done.
Thank you both. Thanks. Sorry, Ashton. Thank you both for coming in and talking to us today. And you can watch the documentary on the BBC Three website later today.